My name's Amy. I have a COVID long haulers, and I had presumed COVID in December 2019 before we even knew what COVID was. So finding out what long haulers was and then has been a journey unto itself. Before COVID, I was a pretty active, regular, I didn't necessarily work out, but I was very industrious, very outdoors, could do, there wasn't a lot of restrictions for me health-wise. I consider my COVID recovery date January 1, 2020. Starting then, I had migraines, overwhelming fatigue, joint pain, difficulty breathing, GI issues. There's a whole host of many things. Long COVID has been incredibly debilitating. Before that, I never had headaches, and I've had consistent migraines since then. No heart issues, no anything, no breathing issues really, except when I have an allergen. Those first months right after, I would sleep about 16 hours a day. PT helped a lot in those first few months of recovery, just to be able to, even be up and around the house. From there, I did some stamina building things. So kind of like how you do high interval training, where you get your heart rate up and then you take it down to a level. I did that, except the heart rate getting up was emptying 2 dishes from the dishwasher and going and sitting down on the couch for 15 minutes. And so you do things like that until you get to where you can empty 4 or 5 dishes, the whole rack, the whole dishwasher. It took months of doing that. And so one of the challenges with long haulers is when you have this fatigue, you have all of these issues, yes, you have whatever's causing those, but then just that level of inactivity just atrophies your body tremendously. So even breathing became a challenge. Like some of my exercises for PT were literally sitting with good posture. So coming here, I still had a lot of tightness across here that I was still I felt like I was only using a very small part of my chest, my lungs. I could feel these intercostals just like rocks. I mean, they were unmovable. And a couple of sessions ago, Chris worked on them and they opened them up, and I can actually breathe a whole deep breath without it going, the whole time. And I can do that. Now, that's been exciting and challenging at the same time. Things that haven't moved in a long time are moving. Once you can start breathing, then you're oxygenating, then your muscles start working better, then some of that atrophy really starts to go away. Just in a handful of sessions, a lot of my pain went away, because I got to a point where the fatigue, it wasn't the totally exhausting fatigue from before, but you have a headache or you have body pain, that's exhausting. And it was that kind of exhaustion, so you'd go pick up your kid from school and you'd have to go home and take a nap because it just took everything out of you.
Well, she came in with hearing loss, migraines, fatigue, and shortness of breath. And because of the long haulers COVID, I wasn't sure. Long haulers isn't understood. I know her immune system's doing all kinds of crazy things, but I also knew she was in pain just from being inactive, so I just decided to address it like I would anybody else. The first thing we did was this big trap and the muscles in her head and jaw, and after that she told me her migraines decreased substantially, and she got better glasses and they went away even more. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes we resolve, so you have a big flat tendon on top of your head that your face anchors to, that anchors to your occiput, and then these big muscles here anchor to your occiput as well. So your neck can be so tight that it pulls on your head and causes migraines. So that was the case for her. With the hearing loss, this muscle here, SCM, connects up behind the ear. It's a big muscle. And after we released that, the next time I saw her, she said that her hearing was getting better. I've had other people who had chronic congestion in their ear, who this muscle was solving it too. And then with her intercostals and her pecs, we released those, and she came in the next day and said it was the first time that she was able to take a full breath. So I honestly think that the migraines, a lot of the hearing loss, some of the shortness of breath was caused by chronic contractions in this tissue, whether it's from some kind of inflammatory responses we don't understand from the long haulers, or just from being inactive so long. But I have to suspect that not being able to breathe would make you pretty fatigued. And because long haul COVID's so new, I don't think it's understood. And so they're looking at symptoms and treating symptoms and missing the cause. And it's obvious at the results that some of this is soft tissue related, so we're just glad we can help you.
Well, and then you sit there and think, is this the rest of my life? Am I going to have this pain? Am I going to have this, is this it? So whether you solve everything or even just incrementally some things, it's like, oh, okay. Headaches for me was huge because, when you have headaches, everything tenses up, so you can't, start really working the rest of the body if you're all in a knot.
It's scary when doctors don't know what's wrong with you. And so I've seen this in her and other clients. Just when you start seeing the trajectory headed in the right direction, it's a huge relief just to know that maybe you know what the problem is, or there's something that can be done and you're actually getting results, because otherwise it's just this obscure threat to your health that you don't understand. Usually what happens is we fix people's pain, we go through something like this where they have this aha moment where they're relieved to know that there's an answer, and then once the problem is resolved, we might see them a couple times a year for maintenance to keep things from coming back. But this isn't something where we try to keep you in the ecosystem or where we need to keep you in the ecosystem. If we release this tissue properly and then you don't do the things that caused it in the first place, then you're good. And there's things we can send you home with videos, we can send you home with tools, and you can use a foam roller for a lot of things. You can use a kettlebell or a lacrosse ball, but this is a viable answer that doesn't. It's a long-term solution, especially when you understand what's happening and how to prevent it. Then you can take this home with you and perform it on yourself.